What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm making this video because there are a couple things that I didn't have in my last video that I actually want to. One thing I want to talk about, and then the Brian Flores thing, telling the team that Tua is their quarterback. There's one thing I want to say about that. And then I'm actually going to put up a visual of what the 53-man roster currently looks like, and actually go through that because I didn't have a visual of it, anything to actually show you a visual of it at the time. So I do now, and I want to show that. So real quick, the first thing I want to say is look, there's first of all, at this point we know that Brian Flores never really wanted Tua to begin with, and has not been on 100% on the Tua train, and is one of the people who has been spearheading the trade for Deshaun Watson. So there's a notable difference between that guy, on the day that cutdowns happen and they get to have their first meeting as a team. There's a difference between that guy telling his team behind closed doors privately that Tua's their guy, right? And then having it leaked out to the media and to a reporter who generally is pretty favorable to the Dolphins, being Jeff Darlington is the one who reported it, right? There's a difference between that and actually coming out to the media in public and having it on film, on camera during your press conferences or what have you, right? There's a big difference between those two things, and saying it there and saying unequivocally that, Tua is our guy 100% and that we are not trying to trade for Deshaun Watson. There is a huge, huge difference. Now, to be fair, or to admit, I wouldn't necessarily believe him even if he did say that, because he's been, a proven liar in the past, even, when it comes to stuff like this, having told Laramie Tunsil he wasn't going to trade him. However, there is a huge difference between, telling your team in their first meeting after cuts that, hey, yeah, Tua's our guy, and then having it leaked out to the media to a favorable, writer, a generally favorable writer, than it is to actually tell the entire world and the public to their face, via the press conference, that, he is emphatically your guy and you're not trying to trade for Watson, right? So anyway, enough of that, because I actually do want to, so let me get over to that. So, I was giving you some, this is from Alan Poupar's whatever. So this is, he included it in his, he did a live tracker or whatever for cutdown day, and then obviously added this in at some point after the roster got, or the cuts got fully released. But so let's take a look at this. And I talked about most of this in the previous video, but I wanted to actually have a visual. So quarterbacks, they kept two. Obviously, we have Tua Tagovailoa and Jacoby Brissett, which is not really a surprise there. But Reed Sinnett did play really well, and we just hope that he can clear waivers and actually make it to the practice squad, because that would be a disappointment if some other team claimed him off of waivers. So we have Salvan Ahmed, Malcolm Brown, and Myles Gaskin as our three running backs. We only have three, but there's no real surprise there in who they kept. Obviously, again, the one notable thing is that they cut Dokes. It is expected that he'll be back on the practice squad, but maybe not. And at this point, they did cut one of their draft picks. So if he doesn't come back for some reason, then that's just another wasted draft pick by the Dolphins, right? So hopefully that doesn't happen. 7 receivers, at least as of now, right? Because Will Fuller doesn't actually count against the roster at the moment. But it's Albert Wilson, Will Fuller, Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, Preston Williams, Jakeem Grant, and Matt Collins. I mean, none of this is really a surprise, right? And my view on Grant was, and you guys know I actually like Grant, but my view on Grant is that I thought that, he was more likely to get cut than traded. I thought that teams were going to bet that, either they were just going to keep him, which they did, or just straight up cut him. And that's why no team was actually willing to pony up any draft capital for Jakeem Grant, and that's why they couldn't trade him. And so I believe that the probability of him getting cut was higher than that. Clearly he didn't get traded, so it wasn't, a high probability for that outcome. But they also did restructure his contract. They took 2 years off of it, which means now he's going to be a free agent after this upcoming season. And it's a lot incentive-based, so he has to earn a lot of it, which means, though, Albert Wilson, Will Fuller, Devontae Parker, Jakeem Grant, a bunch of these, these top receivers might not even be here next year. But anyway, but I said the entire time, Kirk Mer absolutely should have been here over Jakeem Grant 100%. There really is no need for him because they even have other guys like, Noah Igbenogany, who doesn't really give you shit on the defensive side of the ball, who could return punts for you, right? And we know that they're going to use Jalen Waddle, even though I don't want them to. It's not my call, so we know that they're gonna. So there's just literally no reason. And Kirk Merritt is the way better player, and I just can't see him surviving waivers. I believe, I feel like over the next couple days, while players, I think it's like 2 or 3 days. It's like 2 or 3 days that teams have to claim players off of waivers before they clear. So I just don't see him clearing. Over the next day or two, I'm pretty sure somebody's going to claim Kirk Merritt. So that's disappointing. Anyway, let's continue on. They kept 5 tight ends. 5. Adam Shaheen, Durham Smythe, Sathan Cutter, Hunter Long, and Mike Gesicki. Shaheen, Gesicki, and Long are not surprises to me. Smythe would have been the 4th one for me if they did keep 4. I didn't see them keeping 5. That seems a lot to me. Sathan Carter's kind of like a fullback hybrid. And I actually mentioned that in the previous video, but why do you need to keep 5 tight ends? Okay, I guess. Offensive linemen, I gotta say, bro, this group of offensive linemen scares the shit out of me. Right? I know, shout out to Reason stuff for having me on and everything, and I really appreciate him for all that. But I do have to disagree that, because he and several of the other guys on there, Martin and all of them, got tons of love and respect for all of them. So, this isn't even criticism. I just disagree. I'm at least right now, I'm not ready to say that I have confidence in the interior of the line. I like Robert Hunt, but Michael Dieter has so much more to prove to me before I'm ready to say that I've got confidence in him. And Kinley, I like him, and I see a lot of his potential, but he's been up and down for me, and he just needs to be a lot more consistent. So I'm not ready yet to crown this interior of the offensive line even as a steady and consistent unit that I feel comfortable relying on. But look, the first 5 games are really tough. The first couple games are going to tell us a lot about that offensive line. So we'll see, man. But we kept Michael Dieter, Robert Jones, Solomon Kinley, Greg Mance, Robert Hunt, Austin Jackson, Liam Eichenberg, Greg Little, and Jesse Davis. So again, that unit scares the shit out of me. Larnell Coleman obviously got put onto IR, and it seems the rumors or the through the grapevine chitter chatter is that he probably wouldn't even made the roster either. So several of the recent draft picks are having a hard time of sticking with this roster, and as it stands right now, these draft classes the past few years are struggling to keep their heads above water. So they need some of these players to really start showing up. Defensive linemen, they kept 6. Adam Butler, John Jenkins, Emmanuel Ogbah, Zach Sealer, Christian Wilkins, and Raekwon Davis. Really not much in the way of surprises there. That seems about right. Let's see. Linebackers, obviously the surprise here is McKinney, mostly, right? But linebackers, we have Jalen Phillips, Van Ginkel, Duke Riley. Definitely McKinney over Duke Riley, unquestionably. Sam Eguavoen. I keep trying to remember how he says it. It's Eguavoen. Egravon. Anyway, whatever, man. I'm sorry, dude. I keep forgetting how it's pronounced. I gotta go back and look. Anyway, Landon Roberts, Jerome Baker, and Brendan Scarlett. And they kept 12 defensive backs. They have like 7 corners alone. Noah Benogany, Eric Rowe, Javon Holland, Byron Jones, Xavier Howard, Justin Coleman, Brandon Jones, Jason McCourty, Jamal Perry, Nick Needham, Clayton Fedulum, and Trill Williams. I mean, keep, Kirk Merritt over Clayton Fedulum even, right? Like, or whatever. Or Benardrick McKinney over Clayton Fedulum. I get he's a special teams guy, but Jesus. Anyway, and then specialists Michael Pilardi, Jason Sanders, and Blake Ferguson. So, anyway, there you have it. Like I said, I just wanted to add that in there just to, make a little continuation video here because I wanted to give the visual of that. And then I wanted to say my quick piece on the Brian Flores thing. Look, at the end of the day, the story hasn't gone away. Brian Flores saying that to the team today does not make the story go away, nor does it make it doesn't change the reality that he's been one of the ones spearheading the trade talks for Deshaun Watson and that he hasn't been sold on Tua, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't change those realities. It doesn't change that the Dolphins have been in trade talks with the Texans. So anyway, with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. See y'all soon. Fins up.